My thoughts are images that I have made. 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 This, you name it, is an image that I have made. Look around and wherever you see, this is an image I have made. Just look around. This telephone is an image I have made. This tripod is an image I have made. Now, what's in your view? This guitar is an image I have made. This hand is an image I have made. Now, just look around and tell yourself, this is an image I have made. 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 Let's do a couple more. This is an image I have made. This is an image I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. Well, thank you all so much for joining me in studying A Course in Miracles. We're ready for Lesson 15, and we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles today, or this year. If you're following along out of the original edition, you'll be okay with the easy to follow in the workbook for students. But when you get to the text, it'll be a little jumping around, a little hard to follow. I'll have a link in the description below to where you can cross-reference the two. If you're reading through the original edition today, read chapter 2, Roman numeral 4, just like we'll read in the text. But let's take a look at our lesson first, though. Lesson 15. My thoughts are images that I have made. It is because and I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks. I'm a few days earlier than you, but this will be for lesson Thursday, January the 15th of 2026. It's actually the Monday preceding that for me. It is because it takes me a couple days to get things uploaded. It is because the thoughts you think appear as images that you do not recognize them as nothing. You think them, and so you think you see them. This is how your seeing was made. This is the function you have given your body's eyes. It is not seeing, it is image making. It takes the place of seeing, replacing vision with illusions. This introductory idea to the process of image making that you call seeing will not have much meaning for you. You will begin to understand it when you have seen little edges of light around the same familiar objects which you see now. That is the beginning of real vision. You can be certain that real vision will come quickly when this has occurred. Little edges of light, kind of like think of them as like auras around, around plants, around trees, around people, familiar objects. It could be anything. Little edges of light, starting to see a bigger spectrum of the probably bigger spectrum of the magnetic frequency or light frequency. As we go along, you may have many light episodes. He has that in quotes. They may take many different forms, some of them quite unexpected. Do not be afraid of them. They are signs that you are opening your eyes at last. They will not persist because they merely symbolize true perception, and they are not related to knowledge. These exercises will not reveal knowledge to you, but they will prepare the way to it. In practicing the idea for today, repeat it first to yourself, and then apply it to whatever you see around you, using its name and letting your eyes rest on it as you say, "This blank is an image that I have made." We had a little practice in our song. "And that blank is an image I have made." It is not necessary to include a large number of specific subjects for the application of today's idea. It is necessary, however, to continue to look at each subject while you repeat the idea to yourself. The idea should be repeated quite slowly each time. This blank is an image that I have made, and that blank is an image that I have made. And we'll do it again at the end of our time together. Although you will obviously not be able to apply the idea to very many things during the minute or so of practice that is recommended, try to make the selection as random as possible. Less than a minute will do for the practice periods if you begin to feel uneasy. Do not have more than 3 application periods for today's idea unless you feel completely comfortable with it, and do not exceed 4. However, the idea can be applied as needed throughout the day. So throughout the day, if you find something's kind of bothering you, you can say, well, that perception of that, or what I'm seeing, that person is an image that I have made. So anyway, he says you can use the idea to guard against losses of peace. Okay, let's go back and look in our text reading now. And we are in chapter 2, Roman numeral 4, Healing as Release from Fear. And while you're turning there, let me go ahead and finish telling you a couple things. If you're reading out of the Bible, you're following along in the Bible, read chapter 15 in Matthew. In Iyengar Yoga, read page 26. In A Course of Love, read chapter 2, paragraph 1 through 10. And then something I just wanted to share with you a little more. I've kind of developed a type of yoga that I do, that I sit in. I'm sitting. Let me get my kind of show you what I'm doing. I don't know if you can even. I'm sitting, and then a lot of times when I'm meditating, I'll a lot of times have my hands in my lap, or I usually hold them like this, but I sometimes have them this way. But occasionally, and I'm going to go ahead and, you want to stretch your back and look behind you. And when I look behind me to do these lessons, I sometimes will hang out in this position for quite a long time, maybe several breaths. I usually count breaths instead of minutes. But whatever I do to the right, I also come back to center and then go back to the opposite, to the left, and do the same thing for about the same amount of time. I usually sit in a nice upright position, cross-legged, which you probably can't even tell, and I don't know if I even need to. But you kind of see what I'm saying? is that whatever you do to the right, do to the left, and you can find all kinds of different positions that you can hold I usually hold it for at least 3 breaths. So if we're kind of doing a sideway bow, hold my body straight but bent to the side, do a couple more breaths. If you want to do some with me, you can. And then whatever you do to the right, go to the left. And do the same thing. And try to do it as ideally mirroring the other side as possible with a really good upright posture. Thank you. I just kind of wanted to share that as we're starting to practice a little yoga. Some asanas if you've been following along in the Iyengar yoga book. But this is not Iyengar. This is just some stuff that I've developed through the years, which I'd love to share with you. I'm still developing it. Healing as release from fear. Okay, our emphasis is now on healing. The miracle is the means, the atonement is the principle, and healing is the result. To speak of a miracle of healing is to combine 2 orders of reality inappropriately. Healing is not a miracle. The atonement, or the final miracle, is a remedy, and any type of healing is a result. The kind of error to which atonement is applied is irrelevant. All healing is essentially the release from fear. To undertake this, you cannot be fearful yourself. You do not understand healing because of your own fear. Okay, now, let me just, so the final miracle is, or how's he say, the atonement is the final miracle. So the final miracle is the atonement. Now, and the way that he talks about a strong chain of links, if you think of each link in a chain as a practice of forgiveness, when you've forgiven everybody for everything all the time and there's no exceptions, you've welded the chain completely and you've reached the atonement, the at-one-ment. And that's just what is the cause of healing, the reconnecting, the reintegrating of oneness with love. And that the result is healing. So there's not a miracle. Healing is not a miracle. When he says to speak of a miracle of healing is to combine 2 orders of reality inappropriately. Healing is not a miracle. The atonement, or the final miracle, is a remedy, and any type of healing is a result. The kind of error to which atonement is applied is irrelevant. All healing is essentially the release from fear. To undertake this, you cannot be fearful yourself. You do not understand healing because of your own fear. So, to speak of a miracle of healing, I read all that and didn't even read that part, is to combine 2 orders of reality inappropriately. So, we don't want to, so the 2 orders of reality, there's the cause, which is forgiveness, which makes, or the miracle, which results in healing. Okay, paragraph 2. A major step in the atonement plan is to undo error at all levels. Sickness, or not right-mindedness, is the result of level confusion, because it always entails the belief that what is amiss on one level can adversely affect another. We have referred to miracles as the means of correcting level confusion, for all mistakes must be corrected at the level on which they occur. Only the mind is capable of error. The body can act wrongly only when it is responding to misthought. The body cannot create, and the belief that it can, a fundamental error. Only the body is capable of error. The body can act wrongly only when it is responding to misthought. The body cannot create, and the belief that it can, a fundamental error, produces all physical symptoms. Physical illness represents a belief in magic. The whole distortion that made magic rests on the belief that there is a creative ability in matter which the mind cannot control. We don't want to fall into that, or at least we want to leave that idea. We want to start recognizing that everything happens as a result of mind. He's going to explain that a little better. This error can take, so the whole distortion that made magic rests on the belief that there is a creative ability in matter which the mind cannot control. This error can take two forms. It can be believed that the mind can miscreate in the body, or that the body can miscreate in the mind. When it is understood that the mind, the only level of creation, cannot create beyond itself, neither type of confusion need occur. Paragraph 3. Only the mind can create because spirit has already been created, and the body is a learning device for the mind. Learning devices are not lessons in themselves. Their purpose is merely to facilitate learning. The worst a faulty use of a learning device can do is to fail to facilitate learning. It has no power in itself to introduce actual learning errors. The body, if properly understood, shares the invulnerability of the atonement to the two-edged application. This is not because the body is a miracle, but because it is not inherently open to misinterpretation. The body is merely part of your experience in the physical world. Its abilities can be, and frequently are, over-evaluated. However, it is almost impossible to deny its existence in this world. Those who do so are engaging in a particularly unworthy form of denial. Okay, you don't have to deny that the body exists, even though it doesn't. It's not real, according to what we're learning. But we can treat it as if it's real because it's a learning device, and at that level, it has a function. And we learn, as long as time and space exist, forgiveness has a purpose, and so does the body. The term unworthy here implies only that it is not necessary to protect the mind by denying the unmindful. If one denies this unfortunate aspect of the mind's power, one is also denying the power itself. Paragraph 4. All material means that you accept as remedies for bodily ills are restatements of magic principles. This is the first step in believing that the body makes its own illness. It is a second misstep to attempt to heal it through non-creative agents. It does not follow, however, that the use of such agents for corrective purposes is evil. Sometimes the illness has a sufficiently strong hold over the mind to render a person temporarily inaccessible to the atonement or the at-one-ment. In this case, it may be wise to utilize a compromise approach to mind and body, in which something from the outside is temporarily given healing belief. This is because the last thing that can help the non-right-minded or the sick is an increase in fear. Remember that we don't want to increase anyone's fear. You don't want to tell someone that you've got to do this or it's going to hurt you and make them more afraid so that they comply with what you're saying out of fear. That doesn't help. It only makes matters worse. We want to learn to be fearless and actually speak without fear. Being gentle. This is because the last thing that can help the non-right-minded or the sick is an increase in fear. They're already in a fear-weakened state. If they are prematurely exposed to a miracle, they may be precipitated into panic. This is likely to occur when upside-down perception has induced the belief that miracles are frightening. Remember, from our separated state, we see things upside down, and it might seem that what a very loving act is really something to be afraid of. So we want. I've often thought that's why that we don't A lot of us don't see a lot of our ET brothers, our angel beings that are on higher dimensions, because it would make us more afraid. So we got to get beyond the feeling of that we're vulnerable, so that we can start seeing some of these things. Okay, the last paragraph, 5. The value of the atonement does not lie in the manner in which it is expressed. In fact, if it is used truly, it will inevitably be expressed in whatever way is most helpful to the receiver. This means that a miracle, to attain its full efficacy, must be expressed in a language that the recipient can understand without fear. This does not necessarily mean that this is the highest level of communication of which he is capable. It does mean, however, that it is the highest level of communication of which he is capable now. The whole aim of the miracle is to raise the level of communication, not to lower it by increasing fear. Okay, my thoughts are images I have made. Let's see what's going on around the world today. There's 2 celebrations going on today in the Islamic world, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Laylat al-Miraj, the night of ascension for Muhammad, blessed be his name, and Yom al-Mabath, which is Muhammad's day of revelation, blessed be his name, when he received his assignment as a prophet, I expect. And remember, our word for peace in Arabic is salam. And if an Islamic brother or somebody says assalamu alaikum, what do you say? Alaikum assalam. Peace be unto you, and peace be back unto you. I'm not sure the exact transliteration or the translation, but peace be unto you is assalamu alaikum, and peace be back to you somehow is alaikum assalam. Nice one to remember for our Islamic brothers and sisters. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, he was born on this day in 1929, and he died at only 39 years old on April 4th, 1968. He did a lot in those 39 years, didn't he? Passionate man wanting to speak for peace. It's Alpha Kappa Alpha Day, first black sorority with the Greek letter sorority, and it was at Howard University in 1908. I liked what their motto was, or is, service to all mankind. That ought to be ours too, huh? Get to know your customer day, Hat Day, Humanitarian Day, Indian Army Day. It started in 1949. I don't know what they had before that, but it sounds like kind of a step backwards instead of forward. If they went for thousands of years without an army, it's a shame that they had to start one in 1949, but that's what by Field Marshal K.M. Cariape became the first Indian commander-in-chief of the Indian Army on this day in 1949. Bagel Day, which are way better than donuts, probably not as sweet, but Booch Day. What's that short for? Kombucha Day. Something I just found out, the action of the bacteria and the fungus in kombucha actually has a byproduct of B12 for you vegans that are looking for ways to get B12. It's not a real reliable source because it can be in varying quantities, so be aware. Fresh Squeezed Juice Day, Pothole Day, Strawberry Irish Cream Day, which is mainly an ice cream. Sounds good. Strawberries and yogurt's what I mixed together. And Wikipedia Day began on this day in 2001. And then I'm going to start going over some things that I want to start getting seed-wise. And I'm going to plant corn this year. I'm going to do the Three Sisters of the Iroquois. And so I'm going to be talking about some of the things I want to get planted. And the first one I'm going to plant is Golden Bantam Improved Corn out of Seed Savers Exchange. Produces an early crop for home gardeners and market growers. This historic variety has an excellent sweet flavor and is ideal for freezing and fresh eating. The original strain of Golden Bantam was introduced by W. Atlee Burpee in 1902, and this improved strain was selected for even longer ears and greater tenderness. 70 to 85 days, that's pretty quick. 2,000 seeds to the ounce. Golden Bantam, Zia maize. And our word for peace, we're going to take it from the Seminole, and Esseckaphutchala. Esseckaphutchala, is that how you pronounce it? Esseckaphutchala. Esseckaphutchala? We're going to try that. The Seminole, they live in Florida. They moved down into Florida after the Europeans kind of took over a lot of their land up in Georgia and South Carolina. That there was a big tribe, but they could live in the swamps of the Everglades. So they moved down into Florida. Were totally peaceful. They'd learned to be in harmony with nature enough, and the Europeans kind of left them alone down there. I particularly like Osceola, the king or the chief that a really good story. He would drink the black drink of Osceola, and they would cry that song or kind of a Osceola. I don't know exactly, forget what it means. Okay, my thoughts are images that I have made. Look around yourself and tell yourself that this is an image I have made. My thoughts are images that 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 I have made. Now look around and tell yourself that whatever you're looking at is an image I have made. That is an image I have made. I'll just hum it. That is an image I have made. 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 Look around. That, name it, is an image that I have made. That is an image I have made. That is an image I have made. That is an image I have made. That jacket is an image I have made. That is an image I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. My thoughts are images that I have made. Okay, and if something disturbs you today, use that. This blank is an image that I have made. Esseckaphutchala, for peace in the Seminole language. Esseckaphutchala. My thoughts are images that I have made. Esseckaphutchala.